Takuto died, only to find himself in another world, reincarnated as the ruler of the dark civilization Maingura from a strategy game he loved, destined to conquer the world and become the strongest. The first episode of this anime begins with a boy named Takuto sitting in his room playing computer games. He suddenly dozes off, then wakes up to find himself in a strange place. A girl calls him king, and Takuto is greatly shocked by what's happening, but he soon realizes he's entered the game he was playing. This game is a nation management simulation set in a dark fantasy world called Eternal Nations. His favorite character in the game is Otto, the girl standing before him. He doesn't understand his role in this game, assuming he's playing a character. Since she's calling him king, he understands she means he's the leader of Maingura. Otto tells him that he's the one who conquered the nightmare difficulty using the civilization said to be the hardest to control, the civilization of ruin. He is the legendary player proudly leading the official user rankings. Takuto is astonished by this. Otto tells him she remembers everything now. They've conquered the world together many times in the game. She also remembers the number of times they've failed, so she tells him not to worry at all, as she remembers him from the beginning. Takuto tells her he used her a lot in the game to become as strong as she is, and he's very happy he can actually talk to her. He then asks her if she summoned him here. She tells him she didn't, but she found herself here in the blink of an eye. She concludes that this place isn't heaven, and if she had to describe it, it's somewhat like the world of Eternal Nations. She considers it a miracle, but is very happy to see him in front of her. She then asks him to start this new life together again. He tells her, astonished, that they don't know where they are now. Otto reassures him that they are together and that this might be his world, or perhaps a completely different one, but as they've done all those times before, they will start a new life together and build a kingdom for themselves. After that, we see Takuto still in shock. He has no idea what's happening or even where this place is, but since he's with Otto, he agrees to start together and recreate those bright days in this world. He then tells Otto he agrees to stay here and build a new civilization with her. Otto is very happy and then tells him her name is Mud Otto. She is the child born from the mud that will destroy the world, and from this moment forward, her body and mind are completely at his command. Takuto eagerly tells her he's ready to build their civilization together as the most evil nation of all. He adds that she is incredibly precise and specialized in internal affairs, so she knows what Maingura should do and what to do first. He then continues by saying they will withdraw from the world and close their doors to themselves. After that, a long-legged insect is suddenly summoned. Takuto and Otto are disgusted by it because it's so gross. Takuto thinks about killing it, but then he considers that the Maingura civilization is a gentle civilization that controls evil and ruin, so they must keep that in mind before taking any action. This means they must avoid being discovered by others as much as possible, which is their strict rule in the early stages of the game. He then says they must gather information without anyone discovering them. Afterward, he orders the long-legged insect that he will give it orders as a subordinate of the glorious Maingura. He commands it to go and explore the area around them, warning it not to disappoint its great king Takuto, and to always ensure its mission is completed. The long-legged insect hurries to gather news and information for them. Otto is very happy about this because she was a bit scared, but now it's performing its function as a subordinate, obeying their orders as required. At that moment, Takuto tells her he can share the insect's field of vision, just like in the game, but doing so requires 100 points of his magic power, and they have 100 more remaining. Building a settlement to serve as their primary base will require 20 magic power, so they must not waste their remaining magic power. However, Takuto considers producing a warrior who can fight for and protect them, but that was not an option. Otto tells him she will fight hard if they are forced to fight. When Takuto looks at her magic power, he sees she only has 3 points. He knows her magic power increases over time, but they are now in a very precarious situation due to her low magic power, and any encounter with a strong enemy could lead to their deaths. Takuto then tries to see what the insect sees, and finds that he was able to grasp the surrounding terrain, but it's completely covered in forests, and the insect hasn't encountered any animals or monsters yet. Otto tells him that the forest terrain is ideal for hiding, but it's truly strange that there aren't any animals it has encountered. Takuto adds that there's no source of food either, but he will continue exploring for a while. Otto apologizes that she couldn't offer them more help. He tells her that her presence by his side is enough. Otto blushes at his words. Suddenly, Takuto sees a group of dark elves. They weren't far from here, as Takuto sees many of them gathered together. Otto tells him this confirms they are in a fantasy world. Dark elves are usually neutral, but tend towards evil neutrality, so this is convenient for them. Takuto asks her if she's sure this is truly the world of Eternal Nations. If they find a settlement of another civilization, it will be bad for them, as they want to avoid war as much as possible, which is why they need to remain hidden initially. Being next to another civilization would be very troublesome. It would be a bad start for him. Otto reassures him that if that's the case, they will run away together. Takuto is relieved by her words and decides to observe these dark elves to gather information about the surrounding area, and if they're unlucky, they'll run far away together. Suddenly, a group of elves appears before them. Takuto and Otto are shocked by this. The leader is very scared of him, and at that moment, we go back in time for a while, where we see a group of elves wandering through the forests, but they haven't found anything. One of the elves suggests they should leave these cursed lands, but what will they gain from leaving the forest now? They were driven from their land and have nowhere to go, and their children won't be able to last long. This area is full of plants, and there must be food on the outskirts of the unknown lands of Idaragia. Then, a girl named Imel talks to her leader, saying their books mention something evil being sealed in those lands, and whatever that thing is, it won't allow life to grow or thrive there. The leader tells her that everything she says is superstition. As she can see, the trees are growing very well here, so she shouldn't give up. He is sure that the spirits of their ancestors will guide them through this ordeal, even though it is indeed a suspicious forest, but he cannot leave for that reason alone, as his people are waiting for him. He then tells those with him that whoever cannot move further should stay to look for food. At that moment, they reach Takuta's location, where the leader is shocked when he sees him because that creature is very dangerous for them, and Imel was right. He is the embodiment of evil itself, and if he does anything, his actions will affect the fate of the entire tribe. My actions might affect the fate of the entire tribe. I must be careful. Gaia then introduces himself to the king, saying, I am a dark elf from the Mazaram clan, Chief Warrior Gaia. I see you are a person of high standing. Please accept my apology first for entering your forest without permission. Otto responds, it seems you are well aware of what it means to trespass on this land. What was the reason that compelled you to commit this transgression? Gaia informs her, my clan of dark elves, the Mazaram clan, used to reside in the central Idaragia lands. However, our former leaders, the highest authority among the elves, the quadripartite ruling council, persecuted us and expelled us from our land. We had nowhere else to turn. We came here, fleeing from severe persecution. Our food supplies ran out on the way, and because we were trying to evade our pursuers, we couldn't acquire more food. Several days have passed since we last ate anything. All we wanted was to live in peace. The king then throws an apple to him, saying, this apple tastes delicious if sliced into rabbit shapes. Gaia takes it, thinking to himself, would it be rude to taste it here? And can I do that while our people await our return? Then, we see Gaia's friends. It's delicious, incredibly sweet, and full of juice too. Otto then says the king offers him his generosity. Gaia replies, there are many of us who fled to this land with us, young children. The children are starving. They haven't eaten anything in days and have become skin and bones. He asks him to provide food for the children instead of eating it himself. Afterward, the king throws a lot of food at them. After that, Gaia says to himself, the dark elves are despised because they fled from the light. They say that we are only allowed to live thanks to the mercy of the light elves. We are subject to such contempt, forced to live in the shadows, far away. No one has extended a helping hand to us. Only, the king tells them, this food is for you. They are greatly surprised, and Gaia asks him, who are you? But the king doesn't reply. The scene then shifts to Gaia's people, who are very tired and want to eat. Finally, Gaia returns with a lot of food. They are overjoyed, eat and cry from intense happiness. The end of episode. Then, Gaia speaks with Multar, saying, the fruit you brought with you was amazing. I have lived a very long life, yet I have never seen anything like it before. Gaia replies, yes, I tasted a little of it, and it was wonderful. This is the first time I've discovered that fruit with such a delicious taste exists in this world. I encountered a legendary being in the depths of the forest. I remember Imel mentioning something about a being that was sealed in the cursed lands. Then Multar asks him, did you meet the King of Ruin? Some old legends and books still exist. When the world reaches saturation, the King of Ruin appears. He will bring ruin to everything and force everyone to start anew. We don't know the veracity of these stories, but I cannot assert that they are false either. Did he describe himself as such? Gaia tells him. He did not introduce himself to me, but the King of Ruin was terrifying enough to deserve that title, and I would not speak to him. He was a being beyond our comprehension. But there was a young woman serving him who explained some of the king's words to us. Noltar replies, you're not sure if what you encountered was truly the King of Ruin, but it's certain that he is not a benevolent being. And now that my stomach is full and I've regained some of my magical energy, it's clear to me. This forest is unnatural. Perhaps I should have paid attention to that earlier. No evil being would grant gifts without a price. Gaia tells him, all I did was explain our situation when he asked, and he did so out of mercy. His Excellency sympathized with our situation and overwhelmed us with his generosity. Muldar then gets angry and asks him, did you call him His Excellency? He used that expression to denote respect. Gaia becomes agitated with Multar. He helped us when we were starving. It's natural for me to show him respect because he fed our stomachs. What was I supposed to do? Multar apologizes to him because he also doesn't know what he should have done. I will take over negotiations with the king as the leader of the oppressed Dark Elves. I have lived 2 centuries so far. I will find a way, and I wonder when I will finally be able to spend my nights in peace. The scene then shifts to Otto, who is angry with the king, telling him, sit up straight. I want to enable your rare magical energy agreement. We have begun establishing Maingura, and we still don't even know what surrounds us. The king tells her, I just felt pity for them, and I apologize for using our magical power without asking you. I will fulfill any request you ask of me. I need you with me, Otto tells him. There's no need to make such a promise because I am a subordinate. It's futile to object to my great king's decision. Issue your commands as you wish. He tells her, I couldn't speak to those dark elves properly. I can speak with you smoothly, but when I stand before others, words fail to come out. I am simply bad at communication. Even when I was in the hospital, I don't recall having any pleasant conversations with nurses or doctors. This concludes today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all that's new. Our episode begins with Ato talking to Takuto. A bug appears and Ato gets angry at it because it's talking to King Takuto. Takuto tells her not to be angry, as he was the one who asked it to return to them from time to time. They then continue their conversation about the elves. Takuto says that the presence of people with different cultures and ideas in close proximity can lead to many conflicts. Ato asks him if anything is bothering him. He tells her that he's not good at communication and isn't sure he'll be able to handle negotiations well. Ato suggests that she handle the negotiations instead, which would help showcase his majesty as the king of the elves. She asks him to tell her anything he needs without hesitation. Takuto thanks her and tells her he's relying on her and trusts her ability to negotiate. Then we see Moltar, the elder of the Dark Elves, with Chia. They introduce themselves to King Takuto. Ato immediately asks them to state why they've come and what they want from the king. Moltar expresses his deep gratitude for providing food to his people, O king, and asks for his esteemed name. Ato introduces the king, saying this is the lord of the end of the world and the ruler of ruin, Era Takuto. Be sure to address him as King Era or King Takuto. I am Ato, and I serve as King Takuto's assistant. I am of lower status than him, but you must also show respect when addressing me. Moltar tells her that he will always respect her and the king, and promises to engrave their names in the hearts of his people. Ato then allows them to take the food and leave. Moltar asks her how he can repay the great kindness King Takuto has shown his people. She tells him it's unnecessary, as she doubts they can offer anything that would satisfy the king anyway, and they lack the necessary resources. Ato then asks Moltar what they plan to do, and he tells her that his intentions are not bad, and he isn't planning anything. King Takuto tries to calm the situation and reminds Ato about the negotiations. Ato gets very angry and tells him that these elves are very bad at negotiating, and if they leave them now, they will hinder their path later. Therefore, it's essential to eliminate them immediately. Takuto tries to calm her down and tells her he's confident they want to build a mutually beneficial relationship. Instead of offering them aid for free, they should offer them assistance for a price that would be satisfactory to them. Ato thinks this is a good idea and tells Moltar and Gia that King Takuto has decided to accept their offer in exchange for his generosity towards them. Moltar and Gia are very happy and express their gratitude to the king. Ato then starts to think about the compensation and asks King Takuto what the compensation should be. Takuto tells her that the compensation is for Moltar to tell them about the outside world beyond this forest. Moltar tells her that he will show them everything they have seen and heard outside the forest. Ato says, "Good. Once you honor your pledge, be sure to leave this forest." Takuto notices Gia trembling and wonders why, saying that Gia's actions are much easier to predict than the old man's. Moltar then tells them that nothing would make them happier than to receive permission to stay in this forest, where King Takuto resides. Ato tells them that she cannot allow that. Furthermore, if they don't want to lose the lives that have recently been saved, they shouldn't mention what happened here to anyone else. When Gia tries to object, Moltar immediately stops him and tells him that these are the king's wishes, and they must respect them without hesitation. They start to leave, but suddenly, King Takuto calls out to them and suggests that they become his subjects. Everyone is very surprised. Ato angrily asks him what he means by that. He tells her, "I'm thinking of using the asylum system. The Dark Elves are not inherently good or evil, but if we accept them into our presence as refugees, and assuming things go as in the game, they should become evil beings like us." Ato tells him that they are very different from the main demi-human citizens, and she doesn't want any conflict or serious disagreements to arise between them. Takuto tells her, "There is indeed a risk, but I want you to remember what the demi-humans are like. Can you bear to live with only those as citizens?" She tells him that he's right, as it's difficult to have a normal conversation with the demi-humans. Their appearance is very unsettling to the mind. They then find this to be a good solution and he asks her to tell Moltar. Ato looks at them and says, "Our king intends to establish a nation here soon. If you wish to become its citizens, we will provide you with protection." Moltar asks her what will happen to them if they become his subjects. Ato promises them eternal happiness. She replies to him, "She will make them happy and promise them eternal happiness until they die. But I don't think that's what you want to know, Mr. Tribal Leader. I believe you will become evil beings with the freedom to choose your own destiny. But if you'll allow me to add my personal opinion, it's more fun on our side than you might imagine." The scene then shifts to King Takuto and his follower, who tells him, "Watch your steps, my king, for you are walking barefoot." They then discuss the elves, saying, "Perhaps they should think about this?" I believe none of them were thinking about it carefully. If they knew they would become evil beings, they would have known from the beginning what would be their best choice. "I can see it now, my king. It's the Dark Elves' camp. Do you see it?" He replied, "Yes, I see it clearly." Finally, the tribal leader calls out to them, "People, the king has arrived. The king will pass by them, but they see such a dark aura that, as he passes by one of them, he immediately faints." Then the king sits in the presence of everyone, and his follower speaks. "And now we officially declare before all of you, Dark Elves, this as citizens of our new nation, Minogura." She then turns to the king. "King Takuto, do you trust them?" He informs her, "Yes, my beautiful girl. All conditions have been met. Well, let's officially announce the establishment of our small state. That elf then talks to himself. This is it. They told us we would become evil, and that's what we want, but nothing has happened yet. At that moment, something strange happens, and he feels something in his heart, as if his services have been activated. Hatred and malice towards any other race. He was very angry and in pain. Then the king comes to him and asks, "What's wrong, young man?" He replied, "Nothing, my king, it's joy. I am now crying from joy." Then everyone rejoices over this idiotic, trivial king. Indeed, everyone also cries in sorrow, but we don't know why. Do you know why, my friends? Write it in the comments. And a few days after the announcement of the establishment of that state, he now says, "I'm stuck," while holding a paper and saying, "Disaster, calamity, I don't understand anything." Then he shows that paper to his servant and says, "Look, this is the map of the continent I got from Sheikh Multar." He was very angry and said, "We got a bad location." He jumps and cries on the ground like a small child because there are two continents. The continent they, the elves, founded, where nature rules and they control everything, and the continent on the right, which is the continent of humans. But if they discover us, we don't have the military capabilities to fight, and this makes things worse. Also, those cursed lands have no natural resources we can benefit from. Due to how bad it is, it can't even be classified as a difficult level, because that would be an underestimation of its wretchedness. Rather, the matter is very dangerous, but at least not all news is bad. Usually, on the continent we're on, there are rivers and water that humans find difficult to access. After that, the elves come to submit their report. Gaia comes to him with the two tribal leaders, and today he brought his assistant, Emil. Gaia introduces himself and states that he has brought his assistant Emil with him today. Emil is an intelligent woman with extensive knowledge of legends and other nations, and he believes she will be beneficial to them. Otto then informs them that her king is very pleased with their dedication, and that there's no need for such formalities, as he dislikes them. She then tells them about their future plans, and that their king will appoint them to key positions in the administration of the Minagura kingdom. This is their king's decision, and there's no turning back. She then addresses Sheikh Multar, informing him that he will manage the affairs of the state. She mentions that he is proficient in magic, so they are entrusting him with significant tasks. Sheikh Multar accepts the position. Otto then turns to Gaia, stating that he will continue to work as the leader of the warriors and take command of Minagura's forces. He is also entrusted with the task of recruitment. Gaia is very pleased with this position, declaring that as long as their king commands it, he will prepare himself for everything and instill in his soldiers a love for working with them, as their king loves peace. Therefore, he must always be careful to remember that Gaia is surprised, wondering how a king of destruction could be so peaceful. Otto continues, telling them that they should rest well until they recover and will be assigned to build housing for themselves. The Sheikh thanks her greatly for this assistance, then tells her that his knowledge will be of direct benefit to them, unlike Gaia, who only prides himself on his forces. Gaia gets angry at him and then tells them that he is full of vitality and doesn't need any rest at all. Otto then speaks to Takto in a low voice, saying that they seem obsessed with work, so they might as well order him to collect resources at the moment. Takto thinks for a bit, then suggests something: improving the terrain. Otto is pleased with this suggestion and then orders Sheikh Multar to gather wood, while preserving enough of the forest without harm. The Sheikh agrees, then tells her that they are also a people who live in the forest's embrace. If they intend to construct buildings using large trees, he is confident in their ability to fulfill their king's desire. Gaia is still amazed that the king does not intend to destroy the forest. Takto wishes them good luck, and then asks them not to forget to reforest it again. Gaia and his companions didn't understand what he meant by reforest. Takto thinks to himself, and says that, from what he knows, the technological level of the people in this world seems to not exceed the stage of building fortifications. They don't know much. Otto asks them in shock if they are familiar with the terms military magic and primary elements. Sheikh Multar replies that he knows the four primary elements, as it is a basic concept of magic, and that they haven't heard of any other nation using the term military magic. Takto understands that this world has not yet reached the level of magic technology associated with the six primary elements, and that they are strangely behind in other areas of technology. The Sheikh then states that their magic technology is much poorer than their king thinks. Otto understands that this means they have an opportunity to surpass other nations once they advance in it. She then remembers the meaning of the word reforestation, and tells them that reforestation is the practice of planting trees in land where trees have been cut down in order to preserve the environment. It is an important step in ensuring resources. Emil replies that she does not believe their magic technology has any relation to tree growth, as this usually takes several centuries to mature and be ready for cutting. Multar replies to her, "It usually takes centuries for them to mature and be ready for cutting, but are you suggesting something?" Otar responds with a yes. Reforestation is a technology that uses the primary elements to accelerate their growth, and this is also wisdom born from our great king era. Everyone is astonished to hear that. She continues, "Our king is hundreds of times more amazing than you can imagine. The knowledge born from our king covers several different fields. Do you realize how lucky you are to have the blessing of our king?" Emil says, "So, the apple we got before was also food created by our king?" Otto confirms, "Yes, that's right. As for me, I prefer the grapes our king creates." Emil exclaims, "Grapes? That purple fruit? I found seeds in it and tried to plant them, and they had already started to sprout some time ago. I can't wait. Otto asks, did you say you planted grape seeds? The king thinks to himself, why didn't I notice this earlier? The food I created before was from the modern world. This means I can use emergency production to create things that haven't been found in the city yet. Then the king uses his power, holding money and saying, with this power I can create gunpowder, basic metals, even oil. That takes a lot of magical energy, but it's clear how incredibly powerful this is. Emil asks, is that a bad thing? Odo replies, no, it was something we overlooked. You did well. This concludes today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell icon to receive all new updates. Our episode begins with Princess Swolina walking with a group of guards. We see one of the guards telling his friend that he heard the princess possesses a special power, but it seems like a rumor to him. Suddenly, a group of monsters appears before them. The princess uses her magic staff and unleashes a tremendous fiery magical power, easily defeating the monsters, to the amazement of all the guards. After the monsters disappear, we see the sun rise and flowers begin to grow from the ground. This power is one of the reasons for repelling evil and maintaining a stable life with the kingdom of elves. This power buries its enemies in flames and bids them farewell with flowers. This makes the princess one of the 7 great saviors of the continent of Idoragia. She is Princess Solina, Lady of the Flourishing Burial. Then we see the princess asking the cardinal about the matter she previously discussed with him, referring to the signs that warn of the end of the world in the Cursed Lands, and the necessity of sending holy knights to investigate. The cardinal tells her that he will never agree to it, as it's inconceivable to show interest in the Cursed Lands in the distant Dark Continent. The Central Command would not permit the use of knights for such a purpose. The princess tells him that she will go herself, which angers the cardinal, because she doesn't realize the position she holds now and wants to expose herself to danger. She is now the holy princess, no longer that simple village girl. The cardinal is forced to agree to send the knights for this mission, then leaves the princess and departs. Then we see Takuto and Ato standing before the king's throne. Ato tells him that the Dark Elves worked at lightning speed to build this throne and council chamber for them. We see that Takuto is very happy with this, and Ato is excited to build a strong civilization on Earth that reaches the sky. Then, Moltar, Gia, and Emily arrive to begin the council, but before starting, Emily presents King Takuto with a gift. Takuto is very pleased with the gift and puts it on. Then the meeting begins, with him in utmost happiness. Moltar then asks Ato about the buildings they should start constructing first, as they have already begun preparations such as leveling the land and clearing obstacles. Ato tells him that they will start by building a food production facility, as no one can fight a war on an empty stomach. Moltar asks her, isn't the great King Takuto capable of producing infinite quantities with his power? Ato gets angry and asks him how long they will rely on the king and burden him, and furthermore, distribution problems will arise with the expansion of territories. Mutar apologizes for this. Then, Ato presents them with a meat tree, but they don't understand and ask her for more clarification. She tells them it's one of the food production facilities in her civilization, a tree that produces mysterious meat with the taste of human flesh, providing an abundant and very nutritious harvest. Moltar tells her that everyone might be displeased with the idea of eating human flesh. Ato tells him that they will plant it temporarily as a start and see others' reactions. Then she tells them that she also needs a hut to manage it and a building for food storage. Ato then discusses the next item on the agenda, research. Since they are still a small nation, they are in urgent need of acquiring the latest technology, which is magic technology. Moltar gets very excited about this and tells her that he is also a researcher in the field of magic and will be able to help them as much as possible. He asks them what kind of magic they will research. Ato tells him that they will research military magic. Ordinary magic can only target a few dozen people, but military magic allows attacking armies of thousands and even allows changing the terrain to everyone's advantage. Therefore, they must select some talented individuals in magic to lead this research. Then they move to military planning. Gia speaks and tells her that they must first organize an army. King Takuto tells them that, for now, they will not focus much on armies as they do not produce anything but consume resources and magical energy. Gia tells them that the current warrior squad does not possess enough power to protect the king, and worse, there are bounties on his head and Moltar's due to them being leaders of the Dark Elves. Ato realizes that they are worried about being hunted. King Takuto agrees to produce a hero. Ato agrees to this, as although producing a hero has a high production cost, it barely requires any maintenance, making it an ideal choice. Gia asks her, what is a hero? Ato responds to him, in Mainogura there are several heroes serving under our king. All of them are strong and possess special abilities, even if they are all somewhat crazy monsters. However, there are several conditions that must be met to summon them, and we must be able to summon at least one. Besides the continuous resource needs of armies, they also attract attention, whereas a hero can help us maintain our secrecy. Therefore, we will produce a hero, and then you can all rest easy. Takuto confirms this statement and reassures everyone that they will be fine and peace will prevail in the area after they gather magical energy from the existing locations and habitats. The matter will be extremely difficult, but this meeting will reveal many things, and also, consultation on matters is the most important thing. To gather opinions, collect them and analyze them well. Therefore, people of the Millennium Forest, I will lead everyone to the pinnacle of happiness. The scene shifts to that city, where we see this hero named Lonius. Someone calls out to him, saying, "What are you doing here, my friend? We have no time to waste." But Lonius replies, "Be silent. I am praying to God, asking him to relieve our distress." "So you must be silent, Mr. Verdell." He said to him, "All right, you have complete freedom. But do you have a wife and children?" He told him, "Yes, my wife is Marcia and my daughter is Minnie. But don't worry about this. Let's go on the journey, which will last for several days. They will send them to the Dark Continent to investigate a vision seen by Selena, that saint. I know if we succeed, we will be appreciated by the Southern Provinces Conference, and if we fail, I will be held responsible as an auxiliary knight." The other replies, "But our strength is very meager. The force consists of 2 leaders, you and me, and they told us to make up the numbers using mercenaries. But perhaps we will investigate the matter, as there are no clear standards for the size of the forces deployed. However, we don't know what the leaders are thinking. They must have a reason to force these 2 people to be together on the same journey. We will know everything later." Then they go outside, and people call out to him, "Lonius, we've been waiting for you, you idiot!" Perhaps these are the mercenaries they hired to do that mission. The scene shifts to the forest, and we see Takuto, that silly king, and they have built him a beautiful house on a tree. The civilization is developing little by little. Life is bustling, the feeling is wonderful, everyone is happy. Yes, that is the new residential area. They specialize specifically in building houses on trees. It's wonderful work. My friends, I want to build a house like this on a tree. What about you? Write to us in the comments if you want a house like this or not. The meat trees are growing well, and the food storage facility will soon be complete. Elder Moltar is leading the Magic Research Institute with many talented magic users who have already begun their studies. They've also discovered a nearby spring, securing a permanent water source, and are currently surveying the area to build a canal. As for the building where their king resides, it also serves as the General Administration Office for paperwork. Atto understands that Mainagura's governing system deserves a more imposing headquarters, but this is the best they can achieve for now, hence its current size. Takuto is overjoyed that Atto has not only completed his requested tasks, but also taken initiation on unassigned ones, like securing the water source, which he deeply appreciates. More importantly, seeing the previously downtrodden Dark Elves, who were once so disheartened before he met them, now brimming with life, truly gladdens him. He knows he gave them this opportunity, and their transformation brings him immense joy. Emily, seeing his silence, becomes concerned. She tells him that his orders were carried out because they wished to repay his kindness. Takuto tells her that this is truly admirable, and he is happy to have welcomed them all as his citizens. Emily thanks him profusely, shedding many tears. Emily then leads them to the meat trees, continuing their inspection tour. Takuto is pleased that Emily has regained her composure, as he'd never seen a girl cry because of him before, which had genuinely flustered him. Emily informs them that the meat trees are almost ready for harvest. She knows they were relying on them, but everything is proceeding smoothly thanks to the high-quality agricultural tools and equipment Takuto provided. Takuto assures her he will continue supplying them with tools for now to help them progress quickly, though he secretly worries about the quality if they were to make them themselves. Atto laughs at him, saying it's akin to cheating. Atto tells him that using what seems like cheating abilities to establish dominance is extremely enjoyable. Then, the meat tree itself speaks, telling them it's ripe enough to eat. Atto now understands that they have secured the necessary food production to sustain Mainogura's inhabitants. Emily then asks them to accompany her to the water source. As they walk through the very strange forest, Emily becomes uneasy. Suddenly, she's shocked when she sees the spring they finally found. Gia tells her that he came with them to assess the possibility of building a canal after Emily informed him about it. However, he knows this water is no longer safe. Everyone looks at him. Atto tells them it is safe, then drinks from it, finding it delicious. Everyone is stunned. Atto tells them that this water is called the Cursed Domain, and it's proof that this land has become part of Mainagura's territory. She then asks them to try the water, and they find it is indeed safe. Atto further explains that this cursed domain grants advantages to evil creatures and imposes disadvantages on neutrals and good beings. Since they have become citizens of Mainagura, they have transformed from neutral to evil. They understand that it's not only safe, but also provides a more comfortable living environment for them. Gia drinks from it again, finding it perfectly natural and drinkable. This cursed domain is absolutely perfect for defense, and soon, all the lands of their kingdom will transform in this way. Moltar rejoices, exclaiming, "As expected from our great king, this is truly an amazing power." The king, however, points out one problem. This power is highly noticeable, requiring precise monitoring of the surrounding area. Atto assures them not to worry, as their king will produce a hero. However, they remain unconvinced about this hero. Suddenly, Atto sprouts numerous octopus-like tentacles, instantly tearing through several trees. Everyone is stunned. Atto then reveals, "I forgot to tell you, but I'm also a hero, and what you just saw was less than 1% of what I can do." Those called heroes possess immense power. They can wipe out entire armies. The king adds that heroes' power is extraordinary. They don't draw attention, and they continuously gain strength over time, even without doing anything. He then tells Atto, "You didn't have to destroy the forest just to show off your power. You could have waited, but make sure to clean it up later." Otto is taken aback by this. Everyone, including the hero Otto, supports the king, stating the necessity of building a palace befitting their ruler. The king, however, declines, saying, "We don't need a palace. I'm comfortable in a house like everyone else's." Everyone rejects this, and Mr. Moltar states, "I know it's rude to object to your esteemed opinion, but please reconsider." After much persuasion, the king finally agrees to have a palace built for him. Everyone is delighted and renews their oath of loyalty, promising to do all this and more for him. The king is very pleased. Meanwhile, we see the Holy Knights continuing their journey, slaying monsters one after another until they've eliminated them all. Lonius hopes their progress will continue at this pace in the Dark Continent. And with that, our episode concludes for today. Stay tuned for future episodes of this anime. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all our new content. Our new episode begins with this group, who appear to be a company of knights. The captain speaks to his friend, saying, "You did an excellent job assigning this large mercenary group. You were lucky in this, or perhaps you're clever enough." The other thanks him for these kind words and beautiful praise. Most mercenaries are in the north at the moment, as the disturbances there are called the Northern Disturbance. They suddenly appeared in the northern province of the Holy Kingdom of Qualia and raided villages, causing severe damage, burning crops and homes. The army was quickly dispatched to contain the situation, but the disturbances continue without any signs of calming down. However, this doesn't concern us, as we are heading south to the southern lands, to the cursed lands. No one knows what we might face there, so be fully prepared. After that, we see this masked person. We don't know who he is. Write in the comments if you know him. The scene shifts to the evening when the captain was talking to Burgo, asking him, "What was that about the sorceress?" Burgo replied, "It's just a rumor, sir. People say the disturbances in the north are caused by a sorceress." The captain said to him, "That's not the case. Not everything that happened could be from one person. Perhaps it's more dangerous than that, but don't worry yourselves. We're on vacation now, and we shouldn't talk about such terrifying things. We should eat, drink, and forget everything. There's no need to worry. In the end, things will be intense, and we won't be defeated by a small number, for our numbers are very large, and we are also strong." The other advised him not to be conceited, as arrogance would cost him much, and many armies in the past had been defeated due to their arrogance in their large numbers. Then Firtle, the brown-haired man, said, "Perhaps the elves in the southern region have fled there. We will investigate them, because they are very skilled in killing and assassinations, and if the situation worsens, we can escape." Lord Lawrence was astonished and said to him, "Lord Firtle, I agree that this is the spirit we should possess as strong soldiers in the Second Field Army. What kind of talk is this, man? Aren't we supposed to risk even our lives to eliminate evil if we find it?" He replied, "Lord Lawrence, don't let glory blind your vision. A time will come when that will be necessary for us knights, but it's not a matter for you to decide so easily. You have a family, and the same applies to me and the rest of us here. We have a good reason not to die, but we must take precautions." Then he stood up and told them, "Soldiers, eat and drink as you wish, for today is our day off." The scene shifts to the forest, where King Takto and everyone else are gathered around him, saying, "What is this? Is something going to happen?" Everyone wonders what the situation is and why the king has gathered them. Then, Takto uses his power on those things and brings forth this strange creature. At that moment, a flesh tree fruit appears to them. Everyone is shocked because it is transformed into a long-legged insect. Takito informs them that he cast a spell on it and it opened up like that. Then, Otto tells them that this is their king's power and he still possesses much more power than this. Their devotion and happiness will grant their king even greater power. She then asks them to listen carefully, as they must show more loyalty to their king. Everyone agrees, and they then cheer for their king. Afterward, Takuto sits with Otto, who tells him she's happy that things are going well and that they were able to safely use normal production. Takuto tells her she's right, but what relieved him more was that they backed down when he smiled to avoid their questions. Nevertheless, he wonders what that means as well. Otto replies that she didn't think it would simply be a matter of gathering resources and adding magical energy, and then everything would be done. Thinking about things they don't understand is useless, and that's the most important thing for them. She then tells him that thanks to the recent weather, they were able to confirm that they can safely produce new units. This means that the next steps will also proceed safely. Takuto decides at that moment to perform a heroic summon, even though they still need to gather a lot of magical energy. Now they finally have a clear path, and with two heroes by their side, they will ensure the combat power they need. Otto asks him whom he intends to summon first. He tells her he will summon Isla, the Insect Queen. He's thinking of starting with her as she is incredibly powerful. Isla, the Insect Queen, is one of the proudest heroes of Munogura and has an insectoid form. She also possesses the ability to enhance all insect units, making the long-legged insects first-class fighters. Furthermore, Isla can produce larva units to serve as her workforce, as Isla boosts performance in both war and domestic affairs. This is why she is the hero he desperately needs right now. Otto becomes very excited because summoning Isla early avoids issues and increases the workforce. Gaining more power is a classic strategy when facing many unknown elements, and it's wise to follow strategies that can be trusted more. Takuto adds to her words that the others have terrible personalities, so they had no choice but Isla. Otto then remembers something. One of them loves conquering the world, and another loves plunging it into chaos, and all their heroes have some kind of problem. Takuto replies that since they want to focus on domestic affairs now, the idea of summoning them now isn't bad, but they can't do without their abilities. He also wishes to meet them personally, so he intends to summon them eventually, hoping only that they don't cause trouble, as he wants to live in peace. After that, we shift to the Holy Knights, who are attacked by a giant, specifically a hill giant. The knights prepare to face and fight it, but they didn't expect it to attack in the middle of the day. But this is what they expect from the Dark Continent. Everyone immediately decides to confront it, as they have no time to waste by delaying here. One of the knights advances toward the giant and asks the rest of the knights not to do anything, as drawing its attention would be a big problem. Everyone stands silently, and the giant attempts to attack this knight. The knight uses holy sword magic, which is the secret technique of Qualier. They use it with sword movements to gain great power. Suddenly, the giant strikes the knight with its large staff, but the knight manages to block its blows and break the staff in half. The holy knights who have been granted power find their physical abilities enhanced, and their bodies are filled with strength capable of annihilating humans. For a holy knight, such power is an enemy to even a smaller dragon. The hill giant stands no chance, and Feirdel successfully defeats this man. Then Lauren says to him, "With such power, we should accomplish our mission without any problems." We then cut to King Tekuto, who is eating a burger. Otto asks him, "Why don't you eat something better? You should eat healthier meals." The king replies, "I'm tired of doing that. I ate so much of that stuff in the hospital." He then tells her that he's very worried about her because she only eats salads. Otto responds, "That suits my taste more." Tekuto thinks to himself, "Your habits are too healthy for someone of an evil disposition." Nevertheless, the pace of things is surprising. Otto then says to him the materials needed to build the palace. "The Dark Elves are working very hard." King Tekuto interrupts her, saying, "When you're done eating, you can summon Moltar and the others. Thanks to the long-legged insects, I can also see the area around the forest. I've been thinking of consulting with them about how to deal with that city. It doesn't belong to Qualia, nor is it loyal to the good side." Otto replies, "Yes, Qualia is far to the north. This city is from different neutral lands to the east. We really need to decide how we're going to deal with them, as they will be the first to discover our existence due to their proximity to us." King Tekuto is pleased, saying, "I'm happy that they are neutral lands. If they were loyal to the good side, we wouldn't be able to negotiate with them." Otto then tells him, anyone else coming here would be a problem, because they wouldn't come without a specific purpose. Tekuto informs her there are no notifications that anyone knows of our existence. Suddenly, the king feels something strange. The king then says, "It seems someone has already arrived. There's an armed squad approaching the forest. I want to avoid drawing attention right now. Go and divert them in the safest way possible, and if that's not possible, after that we see the knights preparing." Lawrence says, "These are the cursed lands and the cursed sea of trees that repel life. Let's go." Everyone is surprised when they see a young girl. Feirdel speaks with her and asks her, "What are you doing in these cursed lands?" Otto replies, "I'm a dark elf who fled to this forest for survival. It's clear to me that you are a holy knight from Qualia. What brings you here today?" Feirdel then says, "I cannot tell you why we came. Answer our question first." She tells him that she simply lives with her sisters who suffered a similar fate. "I do not advise you to enter this forest. I ask you to refrain from doing so." Lawrence gets agitated and says to her, "We are men chosen by the city," but Feirdel gets angry at him for speaking while he was present. Lawrence thinks to himself that he didn't say anything to deserve such a reprimand. Then Feirdel says, "We came here on a mission, and we cannot return just because you don't want us to," the elf Otto tells them. "My sisters are in a state of fear and panic. We all suffered a long and painful journey until we finally found a place to live in peace. I ask you to show us some mercy." Feirdel is unconvinced by her words and believes there's something in this forest. Otto tells him there's nothing but peace and quiet. But then she asks, "What made you, holy knights, interested in such a dismal forest?" He responds harshly and violently, "We came by the commander's order. We were told there's a complete catastrophe in this land and we cannot return without confirming the truth." Everyone is shocked by this, as it's a military secret that no one should reveal. Lawrence becomes extremely angry, stating that revealing a military secret without permission is a treacherous act of betrayal. Even if he is a high holy knight, his authority has limits. He then declares, "I will report this when we return home." Feirdel tells him, "Do as you wish." Otto tells them, "I am very sorry, but you will not be able to enter this forest." Everyone is stunned by this. The elf girl's eyes turn red as she tells them, "There is nothing in this land to worry you, Sir Holy Knight. Please understand that and return whence you came." Feirdel tells her that all they need is to enter for a moment. Otto tells them that that is also forbidden. Feirdel reassures her that there is no catastrophe for her or her people because the elves are a good people who fear such occurrences and wish to live in peace. The girl swears to him that no harm will befall them and that there are no catastrophes in this city. Feirdel then asks everyone to leave. Lawrence is shocked by this decision and becomes very angry, feeling an evil energy emanating from the girl and not believing her. Feirdel, in a fit of rage, tells him, "I trust her words. Trust is part of our creed." A major argument ensues between them, ultimately leading to Feirdel insisting on returning home with everyone. But suddenly, Lawrence is at the height of his fury and exclaims, "What a disgrace, High Holy Knight Feirdel! I see you have abandoned our mission, and I strip you of your authority." Not only did you reveal a military secret, but you intend to return without investigating. I cannot entrust this mission to someone who does that. Therefore, I will take command from now on, and I order everyone to enter these cursed lands so we can investigate ourselves. Fjeldel orders everyone to listen to him, but they cannot because Lorenz appointed them. The elf girl Otto pleads with them. Please, don't act recklessly. We can still resolve this through dialogue. Lorenz orders her to shut up and warns that if she interferes further, they will show her no mercy. He orders the soldiers to apprehend her, but Fjeldel quickly stops them, telling them not to touch an unarmed person under any circumstances. Otto says, "It seems dialogue has failed." Moments later, Lorenz finds himself unconscious on the ground. He quickly wakes up to find his hand covered in blood. He looks around and sees that all the soldiers are dead. This girl is holding them one by one with her octopus-like hands, all of them killed. Fjeldel, the other survivor, exclaims, "This girl is a witch, a cursed witch." The girl, Otto, tells them everything was going well. Life isn't always something that goes well. Will she let them go unharmed? This is what we will find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. We also ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all new updates.